Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I think I want to do like a natural kind of look. I think I'm going to focus more on the eye look that I did in my last tutorial, like the glam side, like I think it was this side that I did. So I'm going to be walking you through the steps of what I do. I did start with priming my skin, like my skin's all primed already. I just didn't want to take that step. You don't have to use a primer, I guess, if you don't want to. So, the first thing I'm going to go in with is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte Foundation. I'm in the shade 104 Golden Beige, and I like to just squirt some on the back of my hand. And then I'm also going to be mixing in the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Porcelain. My tan is going away slowly, which is sad. So we got to mix our foundations. And then I'm going to mix those on the back of my hand. And I'm using a Real Technique sponge. You can use a beauty blender, you can use a brush. It's totally up to you. This is just what I prefer to use. And then I'm just going to start patting that all over the face. Really cover up those blemishes. Make some really fantastic faces again. And if you're wondering why I keep looking over here, like I said in my last tutorial for the Venom Takes Over look, I do have a mirror over there so that way I can see what I'm doing. And so now that we've done that, we have our foundation on. Now I go back in with just the shade Porcelain, and I take the pointy side of the sponge, and now I'm going to go in and highlight underneath my eye and conceal, because again, I get dark circles, especially if I'm not sleeping very well, or if you just have dark circles in general. Sometimes that's hereditary. See the difference between this eye and this eye? We want them to match. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Coty Airspun powder. This is like super, I don't want to say cheap, affordable. And it's just a translucent setting powder. I always use the shade Translucent Extra Coverage just because I really, really want that to, seal all the makeup in, make it stay so that way it doesn't move or go anywhere because nobody wants that. So the next thing I'm going to do, like my eyes get pretty creasy. I don't know if we can you see that a little bit? Not really? Okay, cool. So what I like to do is just take my finger and very, very gently with a ring finger, very gently just pat out the creasing that's trying to happen and then really set it right away. And I don't really bake anymore. Like my skin is dried out since I moved to Texas. I'm originally from Iowa, so my skin would get really like greasy and oily. So it's been nice that I haven't had to bake, because when I lived in Iowa, it would get so humid, especially in the summertime, where I would have to really bake my foundation and my concealer with a powder, like go in with the powder. And since I moved down here, I haven't really had to. And then I flip over the sponge, use the end of it, and then I tap off the excess powder, and then I just go in and lightly set the rest of the face. Because again, we don't want this to move around and go all over the place. So, just gonna go in and lightly set everything. I just kind of drag it down my neck. There. Now that we have everything set, I'm going to go and do my brows off camera just because they take quite a while for me. Let me make one. Okay, now that we are back, brows on, I am going to go in on the eye, And I'm going to start by using the, again, very beat up Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. I am going to grab a Morphe E27 big fluffy brush. I really like to start with the fluffier brushes just because it really packs on that color gently and sweeps it very nicely and seamlessly all over the lid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with probably this kind of middle shade just to do a transition shade and get everything started. So I start, if I'm looking straight on, I start just above my actual crease, because if I started right in my crease, when I looked up, you would not see it. So I go just a little bit above, and just in windshield wiper motions, start placing that color. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go with an M433 from Morphe. It's a smaller blending brush. I'm going to go in with probably this purpley shade, maybe mix this cool tone brown and this purple together. And just a little bit, like a tiny, tiny bit. And then I tap off the excess. And then I'm very lightly, like I'm holding the brush really far down. And really lightly going in closer to my natural crease, but still a tiny bit above. And just blending that in. And okay, I like it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a flat eyeshadow brush. You see that? It's pretty flat. I'm going to take a mixture of these two lightest shades in the Jaclyn Hill palette, or any like cream light colored shade that you have will work. And I'm going to go in and start pressing this onto the lid. And again, I go a little bit above the crease just because when I look up and I look wide awake, as I like to call it, it loses it if you don't go slightly above the crease, if you have hooded eyes. And then I just pack this color all over the lid. And while I'm here, I'm going to take that very first shade, the very lightest shade, and put it right underneath the brow bone. See how that just kind of opens everything up and makes everything look a little more awake? Okay, so now that I have that down, I like to go back in with the big fluffy brush, and right here where we have that kind of meeting of the shadows, I like to just bring the shadow together, blend it together, so it looks like it was meant to be there, like that. Like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and do a winged liner. And I like to start, first I should tell you what I'm using. I'm using the e.l.f. liquid liner. It's got a brush tip applicator, not like the felt tip. It's flimsy and movable. So I like to go in. I like to get this part placed first. That way I kind of know and have a guide where I want to start. Because I don't like my liner to be too thick in the front of my eye. So I go in and get real close to that lash line. And then, as you can see, like a lot of the product is now on my eye, so not a lot is left on the brush, making it easier for me personally to do the wing part, because then you don't have an overload of product. So I just go from the corner of my eye and just slowly drag it out. And I like to do short strokes just because it gives me a little more wiggle room, and like you can take your time and really get that perfect sort of line. And then I go back in. I go slightly closer than where the tail end of my eyeliner is, and connect the line. And then just fill it in. And then I like to, you see how that's like kind of undone, uneven? Go in and just kind of connect it all the way through. And that's how I do my winged liner. I'm gonna go and do the other one off camera. Okay, and we're back. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna curl my lashes, because my lashes are, they're curly, but they're not like, I wouldn't say nice curly. Like, they're just, they kind of have a mind of their own. So I like to go in and just give them a quick, and I usually hold it for like 10 seconds or something like that. Nothing crazy. And just really give them a good shot with the mascara. Okay. So the mascara I'm going to be using today is the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black. I love this mascara, and I know a lot of like OG YouTubers really love this mascara, or did back in the day. I've kind of rediscovered it. Another one that I am obsessed with is the L'Oreal Lash Paradise. I tell all of my friends and family that that is like the best mascara. Anybody else get mascara face where you have to have your mouth open? Oh my gosh. I found a trick to doing mascara so you don't get it on your very light eyeshadow, because I have very curly lashes, especially after I use the lash curler. They will literally touch my eyelid. So I like tilt my head like this, so that way I don't get it when I open my eye. It doesn't like hit the eyelid. Oh, and what I was doing there for a second, like when I do this, it's just to help lengthen the eyelash. Helps to lengthen and separate while you're doing the mascara. So there's that. So now I want to go into the lower lash line, and I'm going to go back into that same palette, and I'm going to pick up that purpley shade that we mixed to put in the crease. Just the purpley shade because it's a little bit darker, and I'm going to take an angled brush. Let me see that. And just run it underneath that lash line, just to give a little bit of dimension to the lower lash line, bring a little bit of life back in there. There, like so. Okay, so since I have small eyes and I'm wearing a pretty intense lash, I think what I'm going to do is use this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk, and it's a white liner, and I'm going to go in the waterline, and we're going to, you can use your hand, I guess, or you want to be really gentle, but like pull that down You see how that really opens up the eye? We just really want that wide-eyed effect. So I've done that. Now I'm going to add mascara, that same voluminous mascara, to the bottom lash line. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back in with that flat brush that we used for the lid shade, and I'm going to go into a very light shade. And actually, I'm going to show you the extra tip that I do. You don't have to do this tip, but I really want the inner corner shadow to pop. So I'm going to take that same NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil and do just a couple little dots, pat it out a little bit, just to give that shadow something to stick to. And then I'm going to go in and just add our lighter shade. Do you see how much that brightens everything up? It's intense, and I love it. Now I'm going to start with the face, I believe. And I'm going to start with this. This is a Luxie 660. This is technically made for foundation, but I like to use it as a contour. And I'm going to go in. This is the Lisa Frank X Glamour Dolls Matte Bronzer. I mean, it's Lisa Frank. Who didn't love Lisa Frank? And I'm going to go in with a fairly light hand. This bronzer is pretty intense if you get too crazy with it. And then if you want to know where to place your bronzer or your contour, if you're going to use it as like a contour, is if you take your brush and like roll it down your cheek, or if you can poke around and you can find like the hollow, and I go just above it, just to really lift those cheekbones. Just go in. Can you see the difference, maybe? Can you see the difference? Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't matter. All right, well, let's go in and do the other side. There. And now I'm going to take that same big fluffy brush, the E27. I use a color switch. Very dirty, yes. So I use a color switch and I just try to get as much of that excess product off as possible. You can use a paper towel or tissue or, anything to get that excess product off. And then I go in very lightly, and I like to contour my nose. I don't have to. I have a small nose. It's just something I like doing. But I go in just on the side. Just little windshield wiper motions, and bring it down the side a little bit. See how that makes it look a little bit tinier? And then I'll go in on the other side. See how that brings the nose in? And then I personally like to go under the nose, just to give it that lifted little button nose effect. And I've also seen people do like the little over the bridge technique or whatever it is to make the nose look really tiny and really buttony. But I don't really feel like I need that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with Morphe R2. This is a big, big fluffy brush. And I'm going to go in with the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Blends Bronzer. And just really lightly Just go in and warm up the cheeks a little bit. And this may look like a lot of steps and a lot of product, but honestly, if you're doing it in light enough layers, it will not feel heavy. It will not feel cakey. Like the most heavy thing about my look right now are the lashes, but that's because I went with a really bold lash. So the next thing I'm going to take is the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso. This again is an OG, and I'm going to put that right on the cheek. Because of my face shape and because I have a rounder face, I like to start my blush like blending into, I don't want to put it right on the apples of my cheeks because I have big cheeks. Like I have, as bad as that sounds, I have fat cheeks. So I want to kind of diminish that a little bit, but I still want some color, you know? Like blush is cute. And this blush is even prettier because it's like a peachy corally color, but it has some shimmer. Do you see that? Oh, yeah. Shimmer. So I'm going to add that to this side. Okay. Now that that's done, I'm going to go in with the Ofra Highlight in Rodeo Drive. And I'm going to be taking a Morphe M501. It's a tapered highlight. You don't need a lot of this. I'm going to go in and just hit the high points. Ooh, pretty. And then I like to bring it down the nose a bit. For that extra little bit of, just to really bring everything together. And sometimes, why not? We're feeling crazy today. I'm going to go in on the Cupid's bow. It just lifts everything. It just makes everything look nice. Sometimes I'll go in, hit the chin. Okay, now that that's done, I want to set my brows, and I'm going to be going in with the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Plumper. It's just a clear gel. It's got a teeny tiny, see that? Little tiny brush, and I just want to set my brows. I don't like setting them right when I do them simply because with bronzers and powders and doing all of that, you're going to get bronzer and powder in your brows, and that is just not the vibe we're going for. So I usually wait until closer to the end. And the reason I set my brows is because I don't want the pencil or anything to move. I don't want them to go anywhere. I really want to lock it in. So the next thing I'm going to do, or I guess the final step, is I'm going to go in and do the lips. I'm going to start with the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Lumiere. And I like ColourPop pencils. They're really easy to work with. However, as you sharpen them, they kind of get crappier. And I don't want to say that because they're very affordable, but like they like when you pull the cap off, the inside, the actual pencil part tends to like detach over time. But I've had this for so long, and it's an amazing pencil. So, and I like to slightly overdraw my lips. Like you can kind of see the very bottom portion right there, but not a lot. I don't like to overdraw them a lot. And then I just connect it like that. And I'm just going to fill the lip in completely. I want this to be like a My Lips But Better type of look. and then go up. And when I do the upper lip, I like to start with my Cupid's bow area, just the point of the lip, just so I can get that like nailed down where I want it, and then I can connect the dots basically. God bless my mother and sister, but I'm trying to film and they keep calling me. Okay, so now that I have that done, I want to go over it with a gloss just because I kind of want it to look a little more natural. So I'm going to go in with the ColourPop I Love Sarai Ultra Glossy Lip in Curvy with 2 eyes. This is a really pigmented gloss, and I've had it for a long time, but it's so good. Like, can you see that? Oh my gosh. And it just blends out so pretty, especially with this like mauve-y, purpley, pinky nude lip or pencil. Ooh, yes. That is the look. What do you think? Do you like it? Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. It'll be coming Sundays. I'm 99% certain that I'm going to be uploading on Wednesdays and Sundays. So I think that'll be my schedule from now on. So you guys have something to look forward to on both days. And I appreciate you stopping by. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified when I post videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.